Guten Abend.
Our Super Six are here.
Tim, just to let you know that I'm working with Amber on trying to get the programs into the website. And Mary, you've already put it on Facebook, right? Mary.
She's coming.
I'm muted. I put it on Facebook, but I mean, no, I did not put it on Facebook. I only just looked at it, and I'm going to walk away for a minute.
Okay.
So once again, I'll put out a plea to anyone who knows anything about YouTube. I'm desperate for help.
We're looking for the share YouTube option.
Yes. I checked under security and again, it may turn out that we don't need to do that, but.
What are you talking about?
About showing a clip, a YouTube clip.
Oh.
And having it come into Zoom. Brian, any experience on that or?
You know, I have studiously avoided learning anything about YouTube.
Okay.
Because it's like one of those narcotic things. If you become addicted, you're dead. So
I hear you.
I've just avoided it.
Gotcha.
Well, I know you can share any like to Facebook, to Twitter, to a bunch of different platforms.
Right.
If you have the link, which is what I sent to Mary, was the link to our last club meeting.
There's no guidance under the help menu in Zoom, but
okay.
It says Zoom to share computer audio such as YouTube during screen sharing. So you would share the screen, but then you've got to go into share computer sound.
Okay.
To make the sound in YouTube.
Yes, that's where, yes. Now I remember that path. All right. Well, we may or may not get there today, but just in case. All right. Well, welcome Rotarians to the our final club meeting for 2020. 2020 rest in peace. Get the flag for the flag salute. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, and let me go ahead and share our, hi Morgan.
Hi guys.
Share our agenda for today. Starting with our thought of the day from Mr. Rogers himself. There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind. All right, so with that, I welcome you to share any other updates or good news. Or hear yours with any happy thoughts.
President Tim.
Yes, David, welcome.
Thank you. We had a really great Assistant Governor Zoom meeting last night with both District Governor Cindy and incoming Jerry. And they are going to be sharing, I'll be sharing with you the screenshots from the strategic plan. It has some excellent ideas and points in it.
Wonderful.
But they really, really, really need to know who your president-elect is. And all 3 of our South Coast clubs are working on it, but have not decided. So you really need to get that accomplished.
Absolutely. Thank you. We did talk about that at our board meeting last week. And yes, totally agree.
Well, as soon as you can name them, please send it into district with a copy to me. I'll be helping that person, whoever it is, And you got a great beard there. I did one for No Shave November, but it went away at the end of November.
Gotcha. And remind all of us there that PETS is going to be virtual this year. Is it still that third week of February?
It's in January.
Oh, okay.
It's not far off.
Yeah. Even more immediacy to filling in the name there. So, okay. Well, thank you, David, for that reminder. And look forward to sharing your sharing of what else is going on across our 5110.
I'll be sending it to you later today.
Thank you.
And Tim, Workforce was here yesterday handing out PPE to all the small businesses that needed it. I kept a reasonable amount for myself, which I have at home here. If you hear of anybody that needs masks, hand sanitizer, wipes, any of that kind of thing, and they're looking for a source, I've got supplies for a while.
Very good. Did you get a sense that a lot of our local businesses participated or received?
It was a very good turnout. We
Good.
had a large truck, and my guess is that they gave away a couple thousand pounds worth of masks and hand sanitizer and wipes, and I've got some of these thermometers too. So for
good.
people that have people that come in regularly and they need to check temperatures, I've got 7 or 8 of those. So I've got a nice little supply here. And last time I did this too, and it lasted about a month and a half, which, you know, because there's some people that couldn't come for whatever reason. So if you know of anybody that needs those kind of supplies, let me know.
Great.
There was steady traffic from about 9 to 2, and it sounded like they told me that they did more, they gave away more than they did in Brookings. So
Awesome. Very good.
I just want to mention that the COVID town meeting last night by the Health Network and County Health Department was very informative. The information provided by the hospital group was very detailed. Some of it wasn't necessarily great news, but it was the news. And certainly we now know what the likelihood of getting a test is, for example. We know what the capacity of the hospital is. And so it's available on their website. I forwarded the email I got from them for attending to Tim. Maybe we can put it out to all the club members. The information as to what the county is doing was not unexpected in a county where individual rights are greater than our personal rights to health. The county simply does nothing to enforce the standards. If somebody tests positive on Monday, they can be standing in line behind you on Tuesday. There's no verification of isolation, and a mere phone call can clear someone as being cured. So, you know, again, it just frankly encouraged me not to leave my house again, except for dire emergencies until the vaccine is here in the county, which won't be for several months.
Was there any mention of providing the vaccine for local health or senior centers?
The county is likely to receive 500 doses of Moderna when it's available. It'll be used first for health providers. Health providers will include people providing in congregate living. In response to a question, it will also cover people who are doing outreach for the homeless, for example, in Brookings, and reaching out for health services for them. The educators, I think, were listed as in the great undefined pool of essential workers,
Right.
and not necessarily at the level of priority that one would hope that they would be.
I anticipated that as well. So,
But I would gather that the first tranche is going to be here somewhere around the middle of January for the critical people, healthcare workers, and so on. And for the second tier, which are educators and so on, last information I saw, it's scheduled for first week in February, but times change, so we'll see what happens.
very good. Well, it's all, as we know our information, yeah, please send it to me and then I can get it out to our members. I know it's kind of thrown just like everything else, made decisions around seeing family and leaving your home a challenge, and you know, and the schools are kind of in that situation as well. We received word last week that we would be able to remain in our hybrid model through the first week of January, with my intent being let families plan, let staff members plan, that they would know what they're going to do come January. But I did get a little bit of resistance from some of our employees, and then over the weekend, you know, there's almost 30 new cases that we didn't know about on Friday afternoon. And so we are in the red zone now as for schools, which means we have 1 week to change, except we are in a bit of a safe harbor that allows us to do what I had shared with you earlier. The challenge for me as superintendent now is I was informed by the Department of Education that a new interpretation of what safe harbor is will be announced sometime today, which gives me less than 24 hours to notify staff and families to let them know. So, I mean, I'm going to talk about it with the board tonight. Part of me just wants, as much as I want kids at school and know that's what's best for them, a part of me just wants to say, okay, we're going red and everybody ready. And there we go. But that'll be a discussion for tonight.
Even though the number is increasing, the first derivative is negative, so that's positive, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is the rate of change has gone negative. So even though it's still going up, it's slowing.
Yes.
That's somewhat positive.
Yes.
Yeah, look on the bright side, Brian.
That's right.
I am looking on the bright side. I don't like any other side.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Any other?
Of course, Jeremy's going to accuse me of having my rose-colored glasses on, but I'm not going to say
Well,
anything.
normally I don't think of you that way, Brian. You, no, I guess I have one piece of information, which is
Please.
It's a positive. And this year it's been kind of hard to find the really good ones, but a little bit of background here. The federal government has an agency called the Institute for Museum and Library Services that provides strategic funding for certain library projects. It also tracks data for libraries across the United States. And so there's more or less standard data and metrics for libraries, even though libraries are very different across the country. And the federal government requires the state to collect that data. So every year after our fiscal year ends, we provide that data to the state. And then the state takes, like 6 months to a year processing it before it goes to the government and federal government. And then the government takes another year to process it. And then it goes to the American Library Association, who processes it some more. And then eventually they release their rankings of libraries based on that data. And so the 2020 library equivalent of the Michelin stars were released last week, and we got one. And there are 6 of them, 6 libraries in the state of Oregon that receive stars, and 2 of them are in Curry County. So Port Orford and Gold Beach received stars, and Multnomah County and Portland got one, Eugene Public got one, and Union County got one, and the Garden Home Community Library in Portland got one. So I'm feeling really good about that right now. Take what I can get right now. So-
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and that's based on data from 2 years ago. So
Excellent. Well, I'm sure the stars will continue to come for years to come. Great stuff. David, do you have a question or comment? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, going back again to our just quick announcements. If you haven't already, I invite you to drop by your bottle auction donation to Becky at the bank. I know when I visited her on Monday, she said she'd already received some of your donations, so thank you very much. And again, share that with those who may wish to contribute. I have this morning submitted our grant, express grant application. And Jeremy, did you have a chance to get together with Sally at all, or?
and it's on my to-do list, and in
Okay.
fact, I'm maybe going to sneak out this afternoon and run over there.
Okay. I know she's been busy with new grandbaby as well, so I didn't know if how much she was available at school. But the application's been submitted, so we're good there. And then I know that Denise had sent out final reminders to our delinquent members for their dues. So if on December 28th they're not paid, we'll just take them out of DACB and have our final accounting done for this year. If they decide to join us after the new year, then we'll be happy to readmit them. I had a couple ideas around today, and knowing that we've had a variety of topics over the last couple times, but in an attempt to try to find a program, I actually found a couple good ones that I'm looking forward to sharing after the new year, waiting for some confirmation, but things I think that our club would enjoy. But for today, I thought if you would be so interested, this obviously comes unannounced, would be if you're interested in maybe 2 or 3 minutes of what a holiday tradition is in your family, and whether it's a special event, or especially in this year where many of us won't be able to travel to see family, that today this year will look different than others. Certainly our bottle auction is a representative of that. And if you don't want to share, again, that's okay. And then I have something at the end to share with you, which I came across. So with that said, I'll start, and if no one else wants to share, I'm okay with that too. And so I am the oldest of 4 kids, and the age range is 10 years. And so growing up, Christmas morning was a madhouse. I remember in the sense of the presents for all the kids, the presents for mom and dad, and they're all around the tree. And we've been looking at them for weeks and weeks, and with excitement. And then about 5 minutes later, all the unwrapping was done, and then we just sat around. And my mom and dad was trying to keep that eye out on what was the reaction for that G.I. Joe or whatever it was at the time, the new Lego set. And but that was the tradition at our house. It was all that anticipation was done, like I said, in 5 or 10 minutes. Everything was unwrapped, and then we went on with our day. I had a long distance relationship after college, and actually it was a family in Connecticut, and I was living in San Francisco at the time. And the tradition in that family was all the gifts from under the tree were brought. Every person sat around the room, and the elf, the designated elf, came and then put your gifts in front of you. And then one at a time, people opened in front. So now our 10-minute dash is now 2.5 hours long. So I brought that tradition back to my family, and it is one that is now done across all. So that that's my holiday share for today. I invite anybody else to.
I have a question, Tim.
Yes.
Could you describe the technique that you used to unwrap your packages early and see what they were in a way that nobody could tell that you'd opened them?
I was never one of those, but my younger brother was, and that must be a reason why today he's a very successful draftsman. He could take the tape and I think and slice it right in the right place, and of course, you know, in that evolution of time too as well, it became a little easier when things went from wrapped packages to bags and gift bags. But no, I have to say my reputation, which is totally unfounded, when we played board games on Christmas Day, was that I found a way always to win, and so I was known as the cheater, but I really never was, honestly.
Crisscross your heart and hope to die.
That's it.
I would have to say that I was one of those terrible people, and it got to the point where my father kept all my presents at work because there was no safe place he could hide them at home before he wrapped them. And once they were wrapped, it was not safe. I was going to see what it was. There was no way I could wait. I could not be patient. So unfortunately, you know, that's my reputation. I don't know what that portends for me as an adult, but I was absolutely impossible to not have all my presents opened and seen beforehand. And then I got to be a very good actor on acting surprised on Christmas, but nobody was amused, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Very good.
I'll go.
Okay,
That
Mary.
explains an awful lot.
Oh, David? Dave, let's go with Mary, and then David's next.
So my family had a tradition. There were 10 of us, and Santa Claus came on Christmas Eve. And my mom always started with making potato soup, and we sat down and had potato soup. My sister Peg, who's an attorney on the East Coast, took over the tradition of making the soup. I read yesterday an essay that my nephew, who's a engineer with the Mars rover now, in college wrote an essay on how horrible that potato soup was, that he had to gag down, and if you tried to throw it away or not finish it, you didn't get dessert or get gifts from Santa Claus.
Oh,
My
boy.
kids never got subjected to that, but it is the funniest 3-page read that I've read in a long time.
That's cool. That's cool. David, did you have yeah?
I'll share a little bit. It's not a terribly happy story, but I'll tell you. We were of very limited means when I grew up in Wonder, Oregon. And so the only thing that was possible as a Christmas gift was something to eat or something to wear. Anything else was off limits. So it was pretty sparse, but full of a lot of love. And we did a lot of good things, learned how to work at a very early age. And I'll just end by saying that the program I saw last night would be a wonderful program to share at one of your next meetings coming up in January, the Rotary International Strategic Plan.
Wonderful. Thank you.
For us, I think that as adults, for Phoebe and I, like, it's been interesting having two completely different cultural family types and trying to like merge them together. And so I think that for us, Christmas Eve has become kind of more important, or more, I don't know, it's more of an experience than Christmas is in a lot of ways. And so her sister, who died a couple of years ago, had this massive Christmas Eve party at her house, and with, you know, probably over 30 people over there. And so I remember that, but it was like the whole evening of Christmas Eve was just a kind of chaotic event, because then we would all like go our separate ways and spend like 3 hours wrapping gifts, because in the wife's family, the Christmas gift giving is excessive. It's sort of like a Native American potlatch, I think. where you give away all of your wealth in one day. So yeah, I guess Christmas Eve's been really interesting over the last 2 years for us, because it's been such a huge change. But on Christmas, that whole thing about opening gifts one at a time is also really interesting, because in the wife's family, in Phoebe's family, her mom is the one. So when they grew up, they were pretty poor, and so now that she has any means whatsoever, it's like trying to make up for every year that she didn't have tons and tons of stuff to give. And so each year it just gets ratcheted up and up and up, and you're like, we don't want it, just stop it. But it keeps getting bigger, and it's like not just one gift, it's like multiple gifts. So but at the same time, you've got to like watch the person unwrap it. So it can be a 4-hour event depending on how many people we have over there to open all the stuff, basically from my mother-in-law. So that's kind of what Christmas is for us right now. I don't know what it's going to be interesting this year. My mother-in-law is in the extremely, she has been absolutely quarantined and away from people for the entire COVID-19 time period. And so she's calling for a meetup at an outdoor park in Eugene, which I can't imagine with the amount of gifts she gives, how long and how cold I'm going to be. But I may not be in the hospital for COVID. I may be there for heaven.
Well, it's interesting. We got some of our presents. My brother always sends me, and I've tried to retrain him, but he sends me this Harry and David extravaganza. So what Jeremy failed to mention is I took roughly 30 to 40,000 calories of that extravaganza and left it at the library yesterday. And seemed to be some willing takers. Jeremy kind of looked askance, but there were some other people. And Jordan, of course, will hate me forever because she's trying to lose weight, and I put all this stuff in there. But it was a great way to get rid of, I thought, 30 to 40,000 calories.
There you go.
And I told Brian, for as careful as he's been about COVID, bringing communal food to the library.
Oh, it's the thought that counts. We
That's
didn't
right.
have, you talk about tradition, and I guess it never occurred to me that what my family did when I was a kid was traditional just because it's what your family did every year. But I was always envious of the kids who got to open their presents on Christmas Eve. And we were the only presents under the tree until Christmas morning were the ones that came from aunts and uncles and grandparents. My parents, Brian, I don't know, I couldn't tell you where my parents hid stuff, but not one present ever showed up until Christmas morning from Santa. So that, and then when Carl and I got married, the only tradition I really started was making Cioppino, and I made it every Christmas Eve. That was the big thing then. And then Carl, of course, being like Phoebe's mother, always overdid the presents to the kids. So that took hours back east to open up everybody's presents.
I just remember this routine that the parents would go through, because like you, we'd open our presents on, the non-Santa Claus presents came on Christmas Eve, and we would open those. But they had to be opened after dinner, and the parents would have another helping of mashed potatoes and crack some more cranberry, and oh, that relish is wonderful. This would go on. They would stretch this out, and it would just be absolute pain and suffering for the kids that would sit there, and while they had that one last cup of coffee and another helping of potatoes and so on and so forth.
My earliest memories of Christmas was there was always something that had to be assembled for me or my younger brothers, and we would be sent off to bed, and then my father's friends would show up Christmas Eve, and we would be upstairs listening and trying to guess by counting the number of times someone said a naughty word, just how difficult it was to assemble what they were trying to assemble. And then very surprised on Christmas morning that most of it actually got assembled.
Very good. Morgan, anything you want to share?
I was gonna say I can go. Mine is similar to Jeremy's. Also, until recently, all four of my grandparents are alive and lived in Myrtle Point. So, like a lot of my extended family was very close together in proximity. So we always did Christmas Eve with my paternal grandparents, and that grandma loves to buy stuff. And if you guys remember the Pony Village Mall, like the Emporium, Macy's, oh man. So I have a little sister that's just 18 months younger than me. And so she loved to like buy us matching hat and gloves things, you know? So we would get like we'd open our gifts at the same time as each other because we would always have like matching stuff. But we always opened our gifts with them on Christmas Eve. And in response to the dinner situation, we did open them after dinner, but we were always allowed to open one before dinner to get us through. And then we could open the rest after dinner. And then we got our Santa present. We got like one gift from Santa plus our stockings, and that was there in the morning. And then on Christmas Day. And then after we opened our Santa stocking and stuff, and that was like our bigger present from our parents, Santa. And then on Christmas Day, we'd go to my maternal grandparents, and I have a lot of cousins. And so we did like a cousin draw, you know, we would each get a gift from one of our cousins. And yeah, so both of those always took forever. And so we always had prime rib on Christmas Eve, and then during the day, my aunt and my grandma and my mom would make like Christmas Day brunch, and we'd be there like all day. So that, up until recently, we were very religious and did that every single year. And so it's probably, honestly, just in my late 20s has that changed a little bit. So this year it's not happening, but.
Yeah. Cool.
And I should say that our Christmas Eve dinner was our Christmas Eve party food was Mexican fiesta, and my sister-in-law knew somebody who did handmade tamales, and so she just bought like piles and piles of tamales for Christmas Eve.
Sounds good.
Our Christmas Eve dinner tends to be Asian. And the reason of that is as our girls were growing up, we would travel, we were 300 to 500 miles away from family. And so if we were spending Christmas Eve at my parents' house, then after doing Christmas Eve with them, we would drive to Bakersfield and on the way to Julie's folks to be there Christmas morning, or vice versa. But as you know, on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, the only things that are open usually are Chinese restaurants. And so that would be that. And so pretty much since we traveled during the girls' childhood to be with both grandparents, Asian food became. So yeah, now it's Thai, more than likely, or Vietnamese. So fun stuff. All right. Well, any other? Good. Thank you for sharing. I mean, that's fun. I saw a lot of smiles on our faces and some maybe with the intent of we'll always have our memories and knowing that this year is going to be different. And let's hope that 2021 brings us something different in another way, more actually. So I know our meeting is a little bit short today, and I do have something to share. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. Otherwise, I might just share it or just let you know about it. Purely, honestly, coincidental. Again, I was doing kind of a Google search for Rotary holiday events, if you will. And what came across my Google search was, and I know this is the Rotary Club of Marblehead Harbor.
Ha!
Totally.
I know those people.
Yeah, and I don't think you can. I'm going to try to share my screen, but this was what I was asking about the video. Let me see if I can find. I won't be able to do it. Let me see one more time here if I can find something here. Otherwise, I won't. Oh, wait, here, share computer sound, optimize for video clips. No, that's still not working. Anyway, I'm going to refer you. So as we heard the chuckle from Denise and Carl, the Rotary Club of Marblehead Harbor sponsors an annual holiday Pops concert. And they have the Dirk Hillier and the Hillier Festival Orchestra. They have community soloists, performers, young and old. They do sing-alongs, and it all takes place usually at Abbott Hall. And so if you were to go to Rotary Club of mheadharbor.org, you will see this year's recorded concert provided by the Rotary Club. And then again, they use that as a fundraiser. I watched the first 5 or 10 minutes, and again, there's a lot of places where we can listen to holiday music, but it was fun hearing a community orchestra and the sing-along and kind of the traditions of Marblehead Harbor. So go there if you want to hear some good music. If you're tired of pentatonics or anything like that. Otherwise,
we can add 2 historical footnotes. Abbott Hall was built in 1876, and in the main meeting room, in addition to the deed from the indigenous people to the town, is one of the original large paintings of the 3 guys with the fife and drum, if you will. And on Christmas night, there's a tradition of folks going out and rowing across Marblehead Harbor in memory of the fact that Glover's Regiment, a group of Marblehead sailors, on a Christmas night rowed Washington across the Delaware. And so every year they row from the Marblehead Neck over to the mainland, if you will, and then march up to the Green Street, the cemetery where General Glover is buried. And the local reenactment group will fire off their muskets. And on a good times, people would then drift down to the local cavern and share some Marblehead cheer.
There we go. Well, as you can see, I was able to at least share the screen and reading through a little bit more. Proceeds go for scholarships, the food bank. What is the Female Humane Society? Can you help us out with that?
Well, that's been in existence for well over a century, and at one point it had one of the historic colonial homes on Franklin Street next to one of the town firehouses and across the street from the original hospital that when we were there had been closed and converted to condos. But the Humane Society was a place where women could go and live. And I'm sure it got started back in the days when many Marbleheaders went out to the Grand Banks fishing, and there were years when many of them did not come back. And so there were a significant number of widows in the town who had no means of support otherwise.
Got it. Well, thank you for that historical perspective there. And looking after the holiday, just as a reminder, we will not be meeting for the next 2 weeks. Enjoy those Wednesdays at noon. I'm sure you'll be thinking about Rotary, and you should thought about being there. Take the time off. When I'm hoping that I'm trying to make arrangements to meet at the Seroptimus building in January. I haven't made that connection yet, but that's my goal. And sorry, I keep getting phone calls here. But obviously, look for your emails and around the holiday, around New Year's, and we'll let us know what we're going to do on our next meeting on January the 6th.
Okay, before we end, I should have
Yes.
brought this up at the very beginning. Brian, last week you brought a couple of laptops to Tim's office.
Yeah, he brought one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
Tim is your IT guy looking them over? Brian, do
is.
I bring mine to you? I haven't even put anything out in a newsletter or anything to ask people or on Facebook because I'm not sure exactly how to proceed.
Sure. So basically,
Okay.
Brian brought his donation in, and then I wrote a ticket for our IT guys just to make sure one more time and get it ready for student use. Brian had, brought his in clean, and so what our IT guys do then is get ready for kids, put on the filters and all of that before we distribute it out.
But
Now, what I
who is
didn't
doing-
tell you when I brought that in, I disconnected the that pad on it, and you have to use the mouse. And the reason for that computer drove me crazy in that it would accidentally key things because I would touch that pad when I was typing. So that's why
Sure.
it's disconnected, and that's why you have to use a mouse.
Got it. Thank you. I'll add a note to that.
Very good idea.
So, Brian, if I want to bring my older Acer to get scrubbed, do I do that to you or do I do it to Tim and the IT guy?
Either one, it might be just as easy to take it to Tim. The thing I would tell you is if it hasn't got Windows 8 or newer, it's probably not a good laptop to give him.
Well, I've got
if it's
Windows
7
10 on.
or XP, it's probably
Yeah.
not going to work.
No, but mine is Windows 10.
Oh,
That'd be
that's
good.
fine. It's
Yeah.
great.
Okay, I just need it scrubbed. That's all.
Yeah, no, I think Tim's guy could do it because that way he'll be adding what he wants to add to it too. And it would just
Okay,
keep the redundancies out of it.
all right. And Tim, do we need to make an appointment to come to
No.
drop it off to you?
My office hours are Tuesday through Friday. But if Monday's more convenient, then you can just drop off at the high school office and they'll get it to me. But
Oh, my schedule is so busy.
I know.
Really?
Yeah. So anything else for the good of the order?
Yes, President Tim.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for a wonderful job that you've done this year. It's very much appreciated. And the greatest Christmas present you could give to District Governor Jerry is to name your president-elect.
I hear you. I
You
hear
may
you.
have to do that at gunpoint, Dave.
It's my job. I'm a reminder.
Yes. All righty. So you all think of that. Think about Dave and making President or Governor-elect Jerry also happy as well. And I guess if
Okay.
there's misery in company with the other two clubs in our county, yeah, it's
But is it that, is it that bad?
Everybody's working on it, but they just
Yeah.
haven't arrived.
yeah.
Brian, Dave, how are the two clubs doing in terms of like Zoom attendance? Are they doing as poorly as we are?
Well, Brookings had been meeting in person at the Blue Water Cafe, but with this latest change, they have stopped that and it's all back to Zoom. Port Orford hasn't had an in-person meeting for months. It's all by Zoom, but it's working reasonably well. Some people are better at hosting than others. There is a district grant available, not only for the traditional items of branding, literacy, and membership recruitment, but there's a new category for technical training. So if you want to learn how to be a really clever Zoom host, this is the time. You can get a grant just by raising your hand, essentially, from district to train your people in technology.
Good idea. All right. Well, with that said, last call.
Going once, going twice.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Happy New Year. Be safe. Wear your mask. All those fun things. And we'll see everybody next year, if not before.
Thanks,
you.
Tim.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for all you do. Bye for now.